can be found on the watch, like the dark grey from the case, the warm beige from the hour markers, as well as the dark brown from the dial and bezel. It poses with a pin buckle made from grade 2 titanium, a titanium alloy that is much more resistant than your average titanium. And as we already know from Omega, this pin buckle is really well made too, and it feels very smooth. The second thing we are going to cover is the case, and at this point Daniel Craig actually had quite the input, as he wasn't overly happy with his previous Bond watches. Apparently the next two things were his main concerns. So the previous Bond watches were all full steel, which made them rather heavy. So Daniel Craig said that he'd actually prefer a more lightweight watch, because as a spy, James Bond needs something that doesn't trouble him too much when he's out and about doing his job. And so that's why this latest Bond watch is made from titanium instead of stainless steel, as titanium is only 57% as heavy as stainless steel, and combined with that NATO strap, it's even less heavier, which results in a super lightweight watch. The second thing he apparently took issue with was the fact that the previous cases might have been a bit too flashy. Daniel Craig wanted something less eye-catching and more subtle, which makes a lot of sense given his job, and so that is why this time we are presented with a rather monochrome and matte type of watch design. The entire case is not partially polished but brushed entirely, and pretty much everything else isn't shiny either. All of this and the color choices make this watch a very smooth and rather vintage looking watch. Oh, and before we get to the next point, I want to shout out the new Phosphorus Leather online shop that is now live with its entire product line, both of the German, Swiss, and also has his own watch related YouTube channel. So we are in this together. No hard feelings. If he buys a new watch, I'm happy. If I'm buying a new watch, he's happy. And we basically just get broke because of watches together. So no problem there at all. I got very lucky in that regard. Ollie, or Ola, Panda wants to know, of 2.75 hertz or 19,800 half swings per hour, but that way it can manage a power reserve of 40 hours. So you can not wear this for at least a day without having to set it again when putting it back on the wrist. So this is definitely a contender for a watch winder. But I guess the best part about this movement is the overall level of finishing detail you can see on every single part. All of these bridges and parts are very carefully finished. You can see the genuine stripes or this radial polishing on the gear wheel, and all these little round edges that make everything so multi-dimensional. Now the highlight has to be the rotor too. I know that my husband Kai freaks out every time he gets to see it, so yeah. I mean, it's a stunner indeed, so I can relate to that. And on the topic of rotor, and therefore being an automatic watch, this makes this perpetual calendar run correctly until the 28th of February in 2100, given that you keep it running without a pause, of course. Alright, and now to feature number 5, the function of this watch, because what I am holding here is one of the biggest masterpieces the watchwork has to offer, and that is the perpetual calendar function. So the mechanical movement in this watch is calculated to automatically differentiate between different